Hello there, and welcome back to Normal Guy Games. This time I will be painting one of the war bands from the Warhammer Underworlds Wyrdhollow box, and that is going to be Domitan's Stormcoven. Now, I have a Stormcast Eternals army. They're actually my main army for Age of Sigmar, even though I've only played once so far. So anytime I see really cool looking Stormcast Eternal models, I have a do want moment, and in this particular instance I definitely had a do want moment because they look really cool. They look like, you know, armored casters, you know, and that, I don't know what it is, but that looks really awesome, especially with all the debris. Anyway, let's get to it and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so anyone that has been following any of my Stormcast videos knows that I painted my army in the Hallowed Knights scheme, or sort of close enough to the Hallowed Knights scheme. So I went with the same with these guys. It starts off with silver armor, and as you can see, this is what it looks like when you paint one of them. So the first step being painting, of course, the lowest areas. And on these models, the lowest areas, a lot of that is the plate mail, and this is the same sort of technique that I used for the for Iron Souls Condemners and all of those from the Dreadfane box set as well. So that's what it looks like when you paint the silver, right? So it's easy enough, and I left some of the arms off to make this a quicker paint job, to make it a little more accessible. Now moving on, I used the Reaper Ebony Flesh, which is kind of my go-to for dark brown or dark leather, and it is actually pretty close to Rhinox hide. I do need to get another bottle of Rhinox hide at some point, but for now this does the job. So moving on to the cloaks, for these guys I went with purple because I feel like purple is kind of a mystic color, and that is swapping back to the Pro Acryl paints. I've actually I've come to like these paints quite a bit. I have yet to find a paint so far that I've purchased from them that didn't perform well. And these paints, this is from the Vinci V set, and I love every color in it. The purple is really dark and deep, and it looks good, and it mixes very well with some of the other colors even. And so far I have not been disappointed. So make sure that you, of course, now some of the cloaks on these are the lowest point, which does sort of make it kind of an issue when you're painting it after you do the armor, but if you're very careful about it, you won't have any issues. Now moving on, I actually used a different color for the belts and for some of the other leather pieces, and for that I used Mournfang Brown. Now you can't see it, but I did go over these with Ebony Flesh first. A lot of the areas with Ebony Flesh, and I'm just going over like the gloves and whatnot. I am just giving them sort of a highlight here and there. Now moving on, the gold that I use is Retributor Armor, and this is the same gold that I used for my Thousand Suns and for my Stormcast Eternals. And then moving on to the bases, I actually used the Dark Jade from the Pro Acryl set, the Monument Hobby set, and I used more Ebony Flesh for the ground cover, and I sort of like mixed that together, and I used the white blue from that same set to lighten up that jade and just change some of the colors on some of the stones there, kind of mix things around and lighten up a couple of areas, because I knew I was going to go back on all of these with a wash. Now as you can see, I'm also on the broken areas of the different pillars and the stonework. I went with a lighter color as well to simulate the fact that they are broken and busted. And all of the upper areas, I went with a lighter version of that dark jade by mixing that white blue with the dark jade. And it mixed very well. Now going back over, I took some some of that purple and I mixed it in with that white blue just a little bit, and I went back and dry brushed over all of the cloaks and all of the fabric to give it kind of a worn look. And what I was trying to achieve here is just regular scratches and just sort of make it look like these things have been worn in. So this dry brushing step, it's optional, but it makes everything look good. And you can do this as a quick highlight instead of trying to go back and go lighter and highlight, lighter and highlight. But this is what it looks like before you wash it, and it's perfectly acceptable to just leave it at this point. So the thing is, though, I went back and I also did a black wash for all of these, and you'll see that here in just a second. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't like how it turned out with the black wash. I don't think I shook the bottle as much as I should, so I am going to have to go back and I'm going to have to do some highlights and whatnot. But I mean, that's what they look like. That's how to paint it in my scheme. It's quick and easy. Anyway, for those of you who are watching, I appreciate the views. I appreciate any likes and subscribes you want to throw my way, and thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next video. This time I am actually painting one of the things that's a thing. I completely forgot what the thing is.